which is it itself partakes of the light that fills all of creation. V'hu ha-kesef, and this is the money, the kesef, asher kol naot deshe mebatlim atzmam ka'ain v'nichsafim lemetikut yedidut arivut oro yidbarach. He means to say that kesef here is from the word nichsaf, I desire, I yearn. It's the Parashat HaKesef, he's trying to say, means Parashat HaKesef, Asher Amar Haman Lishko Al Genzei HaMelech. He's basically going backwards into the verse, and he's seeing that each word has a whole meaning. So the best I can do here is that Kesef is connected to yearning. He says the Deshe, the Naot Deshe, means to say it's a reference to Jews. The Mevatlim Atzmam, in other words, the biggest tzaddikim, they nullify themselves and make themselves as nothing, as ein, because of the incredible yearning they have for the sweetness, the belovedness, and the absolute sweetness of God's light. In other words, the idea here, and this is consistent with everything he writes in other places. I bring a quote from him in my chapter on the Shema Yisrael about what his whole idea of ein is, of becoming ein. Becoming ein is not a negative thing. It's making yourself into nothing to connect. It's making yourself into no thing, to go beyond thingness, so you can connect to the infinite one. There's no greater pleasure than connecting to the infinite one, even though it seems to the ego to be ego death, but really it's the greatest pleasure in the world. And so in meditation, the Kamarna's whole trip was to go into a state of ein, and to luxuriate in ein, in a state that we would call nothingness, in order to taste the incredible sweetness of God's light, and then to come back out of that into a state of yesh, but with a totally transformed personality. And then he goes into the word karahu, which means in the pshat that Mordechai told over everything that happened to him, karahu. But he says it's connected to what Amalek tried to do to us in the desert, that he kara, korcha b'derech, he happened upon you in the way, and he cooled you off from serving God. So what he says here, karahu, sheratzah lekarer or hazeh, the Haman wants to cool off, to freeze this light, asher hen ginzei hamelech b'Yehudim, which is the light, which is the treasuries of the king and the Jew, which is bo'er ke'esh le'ahavat Hashem yitbarach, which is burning like fire for the love of God. He wants to cool it off. This light that burns, l'or ein sof, that burns for the light of infiniteness, asher einenu mishtene b'kol atav, that never changes, v'lecho Yisrael befrat, into every single Jew. He wants to cool that off, to freeze it, to make it nothing. Last paragraph. Leda inish. Every human being should know. Each one of you should know. B'nafsho, in your soul. Ki, that kishezokhe lit'om, tam, or ein sof, that when you will be privileged to taste the taste of the light of the infinite, v'yichudo, in its absolute oneness, that we are in that oneness, and that there's nothing but that oneness. Afilu me'at, even if you only taste it a little bit, yidbatel mimenu kol hara, all evil, all sense of anything wrong will be nullified, will be removed from you. You'll understand that everything is awesomely perfect, that there's nothing but God. Next line, B'chol hamidot ra'ot, all of your negative qualities that you have will be healed if you'll just nullify yourself to taste a little bit of this light. Ad shelo yagish migodel ha'or b'shum yisurin u'b'shum chalishu dat. Because of the greatness of this light, it won't even bother you anymore when something bad happens, or when you've lost the clarity that you want. You've gone into a lower level of mochin, and you're not really clear, which is really normally very, very disappointing. For instance, I forgot what I wanted to say, and it was very hard for me because I really wanted to say something important, and it used to happen to me much more, but once in a while it happens now. And like I got halishut adat, I got weak. He says, if you're really connected to the real light, that's all. That's what Hashem wanted. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Accept it. You're not in control. When you stop trying to control, then you can know the godliness that's there and just be at peace with it. I think, maybe, I'm not sure if I'm doing it justice. And so he ends off by saying, V'hino am Hashem aleinu, and therefore please Hashem, may your sweetness be upon us. V'hen hen ginzeh melech v'yudim. Your sweetness, that's verily, that is the treasuries of the king and the Jews. Hadofek banu, that mamish pounds within us. That's our pulse. B'chiyut or in soul. That's pounding within us, the life force of the Infinite One inside of each one of us. And it will not go to sleep, and it will not rest until it comes to its fulfillment. So